My name is John Walsh and I'm head of the School of Art and Design. Just to tell you a little bit about this webinar, it's really a chance for you who might, the students who are applicants who might be thinking about coming and joining us in the School of Art and Design, a chance for you guys to ask some questions. What I'm going to do in a few minutes is I'm going to talk through the process of submitting your portfolio. And then at the end, you'll have a chance to ask questions of the staff, who many of whom are on the call here, or myself and the school management team are here as well. So teaching staff and the school management team. And you can ask us questions about submitting your portfolio. And we also have an open day, which takes place on the 5th of April in our Grangegorman campus. And I'd encourage you all to attend if you haven't been to the campus before. So just a little bit about the School of Art and Design. We're based in the centre of Dublin on the Grangegorman campus. We're about a 10 or 15-minute walk from O'Connell Street, about a 10-minute walk from Parnell Square. We are also very close to both red and green Lewis lines. The green stops directly outside the campus, and the red stops just down in Smithfield, which is about a 10-minute walk away. Our campus is a beautiful collection of lots of old buildings and lots of new buildings. And we're joined on the campus by all the faculties from within TU Dublin. So you're not just joining an art school, you're joining a whole university with students and all of the kind of resources that come with part of being a large university. We are based in the East Quad, which is a very new building and home to our fabulous studios, workshops, lots and lots of nice spaces for you to be able to create your work in. In the East Quad, we have great gallery spaces as well for students to exhibit their work. But we're also joined in the East Quad by our colleagues in the Faculty of Arts and Humanities. So we have an amazing concert hall, which you just saw, amazing facilities, which are part of the School of Media and part of the Conservatoire of Drama, Music and Drama. So you're part of a creative and cultural hub as well. So it's not just the School of Art and Design, but it's much broader than that as well. Just a little note about our staff in the school, and I really like to talk about our staff because aside from the amazing facilities that we have, and this isn't all our staff, it's just a selection of them, most of them are practicing artists, designers, people who work in industry, and people who have active practices of their own. And I think it's something that's really important and unique about the school. And we're very, very proud of our staff and the work that they do. And we're also, I suppose, to a certain extent, a smaller school where your interaction with the staff, there's just a huge amount of it. So you get to know your lecturers really, really very, very well. A couple more things before we get into the webinar. Details about just some details about our graduate exhibition, which is the highlight of the year for us. So every year, graduates from all our programs exhibit their work at our end of year show. This year, it will take place on the 29th of May, 2025. That's a Thursday, and anyone on this call is more than welcome to attend. And I'd really strongly encourage you to come. The exhibition will run for a week. It does, of course, it's around exam time, so it might clash with exams. But if you can make it along, you can see the type of work that our students produce. Another great way to see the type of work that our students produce is to have a look at our gradix.ie, which is our graduate exhibition website. And depending on what course you are on, you can just click on courses and you can click through all of the programs. We also have this website is shared with the School of Media, so you'll see other programs like game design and things like that. But if you click on visual communication, for example, you can click on the work that the students are actually producing there and see the great work that the students produce. Just a little note on this website, it's actually also designed by our visual communication graduates, and you can look back at work that has been produced by those graduates and websites that have been produced by those graduates over the last several years. So that's a great way to get a feeling for the type of work that our students produce, is to actually go on to gradx.ie. So just some more useful information. Just our contacts for the school. If you go to tudublin.ie/art and design, you'll be able to find out about things that are going on in the school there. There is also our school email address. If you have any questions about our programs, you can email the school. So I suppose what everyone's really here for is to find out a little bit about our portfolio submission process and how you might go about uploading your portfolio. So what I'm going to do is talk through the types of questions that we get asked all the time. So they're kind of frequently asked questions. If I don't answer your question here, as I said before, you can ask them in the chat function a little bit later, and what we will do is we'll go through them one by one, and we'll try and answer everyone's question. If you come up with a question over the next few days, you can also email the school. So it's not a problem, and we will come back to you. But I'll go through these now, and again, if there are any questions at the end, you'll have a chance to ask them in the chat functionality. So the very first thing, how do you go about submitting your portfolio? We accept our portfolios on our platform, our portfolio platform, which is tudublin.slideroom.eu. And you just go onto that and you go through the process, which I'll actually show you in a few minutes. Closing date for portfolios, really important. Monday, 10th of March, 2025 at 5 p.m. And that is a hard deadline, so you need to have it in by that time. And I will remind you again a little bit later in this presentation, but it's make sure that you actually finally submit your portfolio in the end, because you can start to upload it and you can continue working on it, but you have to submit at the end. What type of work should I submit? We want to see a selection of your work, so up to 25 pieces that best represents your drawing, practical and conceptual skills. So they're the things that we mark: drawing, practical and conceptual skills. And we want to see a range of work. And that's right from notepads, sketchbooks, development work, right up to finished pieces. And that's a really, really important aspect of this. So it's not just 25 finished pieces, or not just 5 finished pieces. It also doesn't have to be as many as 25. What we want to see is that you have an inquiring mindset, and we want to see your ability to explore concepts through your art and design work. That's fundamentally what we want to see through the work that you submit. So the programs that require portfolio submission, these are BA in Visual Communication, the BA in Fine Art, BA in Interior Design, and the BA in Visual Merchandising and Display. So it's those 4 programs. The portfolio submission process is the same. They're all judged together. It's regardless of which program you're applying for. Other questions. Can I start my application now and save it for editing and submission later? So yes, you can. So once you sign up to SlideRoom, you can start to upload your work and you can come back and do it later. As I said, really important thing is to remember at the end, then you do have to formally submit it. So you can upload all your work, you can keep on working on it, but before the deadline, you must press submit. So that's just the important thing to remember about that. But you can start working on it now and submit it right before the deadline. So what types of files can I upload? You can upload 25 pieces of work. That's the first thing. And they can be in different formats, like image formats. So typical JPEGs, bitmaps, that kind of format. You can submit PDFs up to 10 megabytes, videos up to 250 megabytes, and you can also link to YouTube and Vimeo. So just a little bit about some questions around the images and that. What if your images or files are a bit too big? So there are lots and lots of different ways of reducing the file size. So if you go to Photoshop or Adobe, there are different ways for you to reduce the file size of your images. And just by the way, you can also check back on this rather than if you're trying to frantically write down the URL here. You can come back and look at the recording of this website, and also on the TU Dublin website, there's a list of these exact frequently asked questions that you can actually download and go through. So just some notes about taking photographs of your work. So Some important things: you can use a good digital camera or a phone camera. Phone cameras are totally fine, and they're so much better now than they were in previous years. So a phone camera is perfectly acceptable. Important things are to take your time, ensure you have good lighting, try to get flat, even light across your work so that you're not getting lots of light in one part and it being dark in another, or you're not casting a shadow across your own work, maybe by the way that you're standing. You could try and take photographs of your work outside, for example. It might be a good idea to hang your work on a wall or on a door or whatever, so that you're not catching the kind of shadows cast by yourself, rather than photographing it on the floor. Try and place your work against a clear background, and try and avoid any clutter or anything that'll detract from your work. Really important thing that we like to see are sketchbooks and notebooks. So how can you show those? Lots of different ways of doing it, and there aren't any hard rules around it, but the best ways are a video. So you can produce a video of your work. You can set up your sketchbook on your desk and flick through it page by page whilst taking a video. You'll have to think about it a little bit, so find a way to prop up your phone or get a stand or whatever, and you can flick through it. You can add a commentary if you like, but it's really not necessary. You can flick through reasonably quick because we can always pause and look at the work as we go through. So it says less than a minute. We're not really sticklers on that, but we don't need 20-minute videos, so if it's 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, it's totally fine, but 20 would be a little bit too much. You could pull stuff together into a slideshow if you liked, and there's software to do that. Or you can upload them into a PDF. So you could have multiple pages. You can scan your notebooks, sketchbooks, photograph them or whatever, and upload them into a PDF with multiple pages. So that's also a way of doing it. The PDFs have to be less than 10 megabytes, so that is a kind of restriction on that one. Do you need to make an applicant statement? So I'll show you the application process in a minute, and there's an opportunity to make an applicant statement. So it's completely optional, but I would say it's always nice to hear, because we want to kind of see your motivation for taking the program. It doesn't need to be really long, but if there's anything that you think is important to you that you want to mention, you can mention it in the applicant statement. How will my work be marked? So we look at a couple of things. We look at 3 things specifically. We look at the evidence of drawing ability, which is 200 marks. And there we want to see examples of freehand sketching, drawing, observation, and or technical drawing as well. Use of color, texture, and a variety of subjects and media. So it's not just, I suppose, not just sketching and drawing. It can be more than that. It's your ability to I suppose, produce work as well in a kind of a freehand way as well. Evidence of your practical ability. So this might be skills in visualization to 3D and 2D, for example. That might be one that's relevant for interior design, for example. And we want to see kind of that you've got control over the media that you're using, and it might be sculptural pieces or other kind of more layered work with different textures. We'll say could be with textiles or fabrics or whatever it is, but we want to see your control over media, and we want to see the quality of how you might present that work. And really important, we want to see evidence of your conceptual ability. So we want to see about investigation in your work. We want to see generating ideas, and we want to see your imagination and creativity. And like I said previously, what we really want to see is that you have an inquiring mindset and the ability to explore concepts through your art and design portfolio. So how many points do you need to get in? The maximum portfolio score is 600 points, and applicants must obtain at least the minimum scores outlined below. So for visual communication, you must have a score of 400 points. For fine art, it's a minimum of 400 points. For interior design, it's a minimum of 350 points. And for visual merchandising and display design, it's a minimum of 300 points. Just to say, we aim to be generous in our portfolio marking. We want applicants to come in. I suppose the important thing, though, is that we want to make sure that if we accept you into the program, that you're going to have the abilities to get on to get through the program and to be able to perform well. So we don't at all mean to be exclusive. It's really just about making sure that you're able for the program and you're a good fit for the program. How will you get your results? Your results will be sent to the email address supplied on your CAO application. So that's really important. So when you're signing up the slide room, or you're just make sure you keep you use the same email address. It just keeps things simpler. But they will be sent to your the email address on your CAO application. If you have a query, you can email us, of course, or you can actually phone the school as well on the number below. If you email us, it's probably a little bit easier because we can then direct it to the right person. And so just a little bit about the portfolio submission process. As I said, we use SlideRoom, and what you need to do is go to udublin.slideroom.eu. And the first thing you will need to do is sign up. So up in the top right-hand corner, you'll see the sign up option. Once you sign up, you'll then be able to log in and you will be able to see our programs. And the one you need to apply for is the School of Art and Design Portfolio Submission 2025, all programs. As I said, there's one application and that's for all the programs. So what I'm going to do is just go through the process a little bit, and I might jump to the live one in a second. We'll just see how it goes. So you'll go to School of Art and Design Portfolio Submission 2025, and then you can click on Begin Application. If you want to get a preview of the questions, you can also preview the full application. But to be honest, once you've signed up, it's easiest just to begin the application and work through it, because you can pause it at any time. The very first thing you have to do is make an applicant declaration, and that's a declaration that this is all your own work, so that the work that you upload is yours and it doesn't belong to anyone else. And that is really important, obviously, to us. So you will select yes there. You'll enter your CAO number. And again, this is important. Make sure it's your 2025 CAO number. For students who might have applied in previous years, they will have maybe a 2024 number. Really important, make sure it's the 2025 number. Enter your date of birth. And the reason we ask these questions is just to make sure we can match you and make sure that we have the right person when we're sending out results and that kind of thing, and connecting our results up with the CAO. We ask some other questions. They're not mandatory, so you don't have to ask them, but they're just useful for us. We ask about whether you're in the Leaving Cert or post-Leaving Cert course, what county, and that kind of thing. You then have an option to make an applicant statement, and it's up to 1,000 words. It doesn't have to be anything like that amount, but if there's anything you want to tell us, this is about you, particularly about your motivation for doing the course, this is your opportunity to do it. Once you've done that, then you're straight into adding the media. And what I'm going to do is now just go out to the live version, and I'm going to log in and give you a demonstration of what to do. So once you begin your application, you will agree with the applicant declaration and continue to the next step. I've just pre-populated some things here, and I'm going to select the programs I'm interested in. You can select multiples, obviously. You can save it. Then you do the next step. And you can enter something here. And this is the important part. So this is about where you start to add your media. So you can click on Add Media, select files from your computer. You can also upload from Dropbox. You can link to media, so you can put in your YouTube URL, your Vimeo URL, and there are some guidelines here on the file requirements and that kind of thing. So important thing is, if you have your videos, make sure they're not set to private, because obviously you want to be able to see them. So make sure you have the restrictions, whether it's in YouTube or Vimeo, that they're set to ensure that we can actually view them. You can upload from your computer, so you select the files, and really it's as simple as selecting one, and then you can continue to label the materials. So you can add a title and you can add details. So again, this is an image of sketchbooks, and you can press save, and then you can do done. And you continue that process as you might want to. And then you're done. I'm just going to mention, I think might be somebody who isn't on mute there. So if everyone can just check if you're on mute there, that would be great. And you just go through the process until you're done. When you're done, you press next, and then you're ready to submit. Again, really important that you remember to submit at the end. You can also obviously just go back and you can save, and your work is saved there. So you can go back to it anytime. So if you save and exit, you will be able to then, as you go back, you'll be able to you'll be able to see your application, you'll be able to see when it's due, and you can press continue, and you go back and the work will be saved. And anything you've entered will be saved. And you can modify any details if you've made a mistake in something, you can do that. So that's the kind of portfolio process. I think I've covered pretty much everything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask, just a second. What I'm going to do is ask any of our TU Dublin staff who might be on the call, if there are some of you there, to turn on your cameras, and we might say hello. And then I might ask for some of their help in fielding some of the questions. And if anyone has any questions, you'll see a little bubble, and we will work through those as we go. So I see Neva Ann. I don't know, is there anyone else there?
I'm here, John. I don't know if
Barry
you can see me,
there.
but I'm definitely
Michelle
here.
is there. So, okay. So,
and there's questions in the chat, John.
Okay. And I can see, let me see who else. I'll just see if there's anyone else. Aya is there, and Elaine is there. Elaine is our school operations lead, and Mairead is there. She's our school administrator. So Elaine and Mairead might get back to you if you have any questions. And yeah, so what I will do is, for some reason, usually it shows me who's in the meeting. So I'm gonna maybe have to guess, but we'll bring in people as we go. So Barry, do you want to fire away and ask me any questions, and then I'll see if there's anyone.
Right. Can I get a raise? Okay.
Okay.
I just did that, but no, hang on, sorry. These are people with sound. For the portfolio, is it allowed to use the tool Procreate or similar tools, or do you require drawing, sketches, etc., on paper? Well, my answer would be you could use any sort of different tools, SketchUp, anything. I don't know. I don't use Procreate myself.
Yeah, so I suppose, Nivan, have you any advice or anything from an art perspective, or?
No, I think it's just to make clear where your work is coming from, the ideas and what you've contributed by hand, and to distinguish how you've used any tools, I think is important. Yeah, I think any tools are fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose just as well, to say, I suppose what we want to see is a range of work. So if all of your drawings and if everything was done, I'm actually not sure entirely what Procreate is, to be totally honest, but I suppose if it's a digital drawing tool, we would like to see some hand drawing, some other sketching, and whatever, a mix of things really. We wouldn't want to see, we'll say AutoCAD drawings, or we wouldn't want to see all only purely finished work. So we want to see a range of stuff really.
Can I add to that, John?
Yes, absolutely. Mick, sorry, I didn't realize you were in there.
I was in a bit late, John. I was stuck in traffic, but yeah,
no,
again, the drawing thing it's really important. But again, yeah, we have students who do use Procreate, and it's a useful tool. But yeah, the blend of, physical drawing is really important, and we place a lot of value in it. So we'd like to see a blend of both, please, if that's possible. That's what we really want to see in a portfolio.
Okay, lovely stuff. All right, thanks, Mick. And Mick is the chair of the Fine Art program, by the way. So, okay, Barry,
Okay,
you're
John, does the architecture course require portfolio submitting? It does. It's in a separate school. I'm an architect as it happens, but yeah, it does require portfolio, but it's in a separate school. It's not in our own school. When submitting our work, does a PDF with several pages count as one of the 25 submissions? I think the answer to that's yes, John. Is that we've done that before, haven't we?
Yeah, so basically, if you have a PDF and you could have 20 pages in the PDF, that counts as one piece of work. So you can have you can actually submit a large amount of work if you wanted to do it that way, but really we don't need to see that much. So if you have one PDF, 25 pages in it, that counts as one piece. That does count as one piece. So you can submit more pieces than 25 if you want to do it that way. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. For the minimum score, is that for the portfolio specifically, or is that the portfolio and the CAO together?
Oh, so that is the portfolio score only. And basically what happens is the portfolio score gets added to your Leaving Cert score. They simply get added together. So if you get 300 points in your portfolio and you get 300 in your Leaving Cert, then you've got 600 points.
Okay. Anna says, when are the portfolio questions usually emailed? Or results, sorry, the portfolio results usually emailed.
Elaine, you might be able to come in on that if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. They're usually emailed from the admissions office and they go out a couple of weeks after the submission date. And any queries that you have to be directed to the admissions office in relation to the results, or when they're going to be released. But if you've any other queries, you can direct them to the School of Art and Design.
That's great. Thank you, Elaine.
Okay, Julia asks, as an Erasmus student, I haven't been given a CAO number yet. How do I send my portfolio in that case?
Lauren, I think, have we got Lauren on from admissions? We might have.
We do, John, but her audio is actually broken at the moment. So
okay.
She said that she'll reply to any admissions-based questions just in the chat.
Right.
Okay, good stuff. So our admissions staff are super. And so as far as I understand it, you're an EU student, Lauren, and there's a slightly different process for applying if you're an EU student. You do still need to produce a portfolio and submit it onto the slide room, but there is a slightly separate application process. So Lauren will be able to answer about the CAO number.
Okay. Romeo asks, I have 3 different portfolio represent 3 different modules. Will the College TU Dublin accept that? I'm not fully sure if that means 3 different courses. If you apply for, if you get the same portfolio result, and that could be applied to different courses, if that's the answer, Romeo, where you might be applying for fine art, you might be applying for interior design. Not the same if it's in the School of Architecture, which is a separate process and they grade separately. But in our school, if you've applied for multiple programs, the same portfolio score applies. I hope that answers, but I'll be popping down the bottom and I'll probably see more details. Okay, Patrick asks, when do you inform potential students if their portfolio doesn't get 350 points in brackets interior design, i.e. one will not make it onto the program? For international students currently living abroad, it would be helpful to receive this information as early as possible. That's true, it's a good point. Elaine said when we'd inform people, didn't she?
She did, yeah. And you will be notified. Sorry, Elaine. Yeah.
So yeah, they will be notified of the results, whether they meet the minimum requirement or anything else. All results will be issued from the admissions office.
Okay. This is an interesting question from Daniel. Assuming you submit your work well before the deadline, are you able to undo your submission just in case you mess up and do by accident or something, or is your fate sealed? Can you update it, John, as it goes along once you've submitted?
I can. I can answer actually. Elaine or Ray can also answer this. But
we can actually unsubmit your portfolio, and it means then that you'll be able to resubmit it to us. But what we do remind is just to remember to resubmit it, because if you don't submit a portfolio by the closing date, unfortunately we won't be able to issue the results then onto the admissions office that will share them with you then.
Yeah, and I suppose in a way I discourage you from. In order to do that, you'll have to contact us. So I would say, try to avoid it. If it does happen every year. It happens to somebody. Somebody's made a mistake for some reason and they've submitted or they've forgotten something. You can contact us, but it is best to kind of try to, don't submit too early necessarily, and then just make sure you do submit at the right time. That's a balance that does happen sometimes. It's just something that happens, and you can contact us.
Okay. Jasmine asks, for interior design, I notice also requires an interview. Now, the interior design, there isn't an interview for interior design unless it's advanced entry. I'm right in that, am I, John?
That's absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah. If it was advanced entry into year 2 or year 3, there would be an interview in that, but that's a separate process. Okay, Alice asks, can I come to TUD to show my work because I'm finished? I just want to know if there's something I can add. The open day, does the open day come after the portfolio deadline or before the portfolio deadline?
The portfolio, yeah, it is actually after that, I'm afraid. And we had a portfolio review day, which unfortunately you have missed. I suppose, look, if you want to email the school and we could see if it was possible for you to meet somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Okay. For the architecture portfolio, do you follow the same guidelines for that portfolio? The short answer is no, but it's entirely down to the School of Architecture. So it could be very, very different.
Yeah, and actually this year, the School of Architecture will be using the same platform as us, Slide Room. So you will be able to go in and see. But it is a different portfolio, it's a different process. So you do have to be careful that you're submitting the right type of work for whichever.
Annalena asks, what about TU 832? Now, I don't know TU 832, what that is.
Oh, is that?
That's the Erasmus architecture program. So like that, you'd have to contact the architecture school to see what their portfolio requirements are.
Thanks, Elaine. Okay, Tomas asks, would it be wise to use the art we made in school for our portfolios? Yvonne might like to answer that.
Yes, I mean, I think it's about I'm sure some of the work that you're doing in school will be relevant. The important thing is in the portfolio is to think about why you want to go to art college. So some of it will be relevant for that and some might be more geared towards your Leaving Cert work. So a mix. So again, go back and have a look at our 3 criteria for marking, which is around the drawing, the practical ability and your conceptual idea, your concepts and your ideas, and make sure that those 3 areas are shown in the portfolio. I think Mick has also put in a text answer there to some of that as well for you to have a look at, who's chair of the Fine Art Programme. So the answer is yes, I'm sure some of it is, but also just remember that you're moving towards art college now and we want to see what you can do, but also really importantly, why you do it and how you think around your art ideas and developing projects. Mick, do you want to come in on that or?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, as I kind of, I think that's definitely the way to do it, Ivan, in terms of like looking at, I mean, you can use some of the work I would suggest, but what we'd like to see is, I suppose, a kind of project-based response perhaps to a team, and that we can see evidence of that both in your notebooks and in the development of, say, final pieces of work. So, you know, it's that kind of exploration of ideas that we like to see. The notebook is a great vehicle for that. So, you know, it's about building a body of work for your portfolio that we'd suggest. It's fine to have some examples of drawing, I think, from school, certainly, and some other materials you might have used. But it is always nice to see a portfolio that has a certain structure and a theme built into it. It kind of gives us a kind of bigger sense or holistic sense of your own interests and your own research.
And actually, just to come in briefly on that, because it's a good question. One of the important things we want to see is your ability to kind of have a critical view of your own work as well. So it's not maybe about submitting absolutely everything you've ever done, the drawings that your mum pinned to the fridge when you were 5, which might be lovely, but we don't need to see back that far. But certainly, I mean, work that you've done in school, I mean, would also be relevant in the later years of school, obviously. But we do, I suppose, sometimes people might think, well, I'll upload more rather than less, and that can be one good tactic. But make sure you upload work that is a good quality representation of your abilities, rather than something that might make us think, well, your abilities are not so fabulous, let's say.
Okay, Molly asks, will I be able to submit my DCG project in the portfolio? I think the answer is yes. John, you'd know.
Yeah, it is. And again, I mean, whilst we do mark the portfolios all as one, I suppose we would want to see a little bit more than your DCG project. So, but particularly, I suppose, when our interior design staff might look at it, there might be relevance there for that. So yeah, absolutely, you can. And we do have submissions of DCG projects all the time.
Cecilia asks, I have no previous experience, but I'm interested in interior design, which I love mainly to do like my home or family homes, etc. Would it still be suitable for me? And do I have to be able to draw if I am to do interior design? I'm applying as a mature student. I don't think you'd have to have previous experience, but it would be useful if you can draw. I think that would be important. John, you might want to add on to that.
Yeah, sorry, Neville, our program chair from Interiors, just messaged to say he wasn't feeling too well, so he couldn't join us. But so I suppose if you're unsure, you can always apply.
Yeah.
But if you don't get accepted this year, you can always do a portfolio program. You can come and talk to us, and we can advise you. And it might be that you come in another year. Okay, so you could apply again next year. So I'd say put in an application. We'll assess it. But if you're coming to it, I suppose, kind of late, you don't have much in your portfolio. If you don't get in, don't take it too harshly, because people have been working on their portfolio for a while. So, you can always come back next year and you can talk to us in the meantime.
Okay. Jacqueline asks, can a student who applies for more than one course and creates a separate portfolio, one honed specifically for each course, go through the process multiple times instead of ticking all the boxes and making one portfolio submission? I think it's one portfolio submission, but the staff who are looking at it can get an indication. I mean, obviously, if you see a lot of pictures of interiors, sketches of interiors, you have a reasonably good idea someone might wish to do interior design. But people study a variety or would apply and use the same portfolio for a variety of courses. Ultimately, it's the creativity that shows itself off best, in my opinion. But John, you or Mick might have a few answers.
Yeah, no, just that, as you said, Barry, but it is one application. You only have to put in one portfolio submission. You can tick the courses that you're intending to apply for, and that's totally fine. But we will only be assessing one portfolio per applicant. So if you want to apply for multiple courses, make sure there's work in there that's relevant to the multiple courses that you're applying for.
Okay. Josh says, what's the minimum leaving cert points for interior design exclusive of portfolio points? Now, that'll vary every year, but John, you might have an idea.
Yeah, so I suppose the main thing to do is if you go to the TU Dublin, the program website, if you go to interior design, you'll be able to see the minimum requirements for the program, and that might be the number of passes you need, the number of subjects you need in your leaving cert. After that, then I suppose it's a competitive process. So on interior design, typically we have 40 places, I suppose, and it's the students who get the most marks overall are the ones who will get in. So it varies every year, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Tara asks, can you put all your pieces and notebooks in one PDF, as it will make it easier to submit instead of numerous files? I think the short answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally fine. You could have different PDFs. You can have one PDF, whatever way it suits you. Yeah.
Okay, this I don't know the answer to, but Magnus asks, would you still look at leaving cert results if the applicant holds a level 6 QQ1 award?
So my answer is we don't. Elaine, are you able to answer that maybe? Or if Lauren might be able to answer in it.
Lauren actually replied to that one in the chat, John.
Okay, so
okay.
You might be, have you got the answer down there someplace?
Yeah, it said you'll be included in the QQI offer round along with the leaving cert offer rounds if you supply both on your CAO application. So if you applies both ways, you'll be notified in both rounds.
Okay. So again, if you have questions on that, you can contact admissions. And thanks, Lauren, for answering that too.
Okay, Sania asks, apologies if I've mispronounced your name. Should I describe the idea and background of my work in my portfolio? I think yes. Is that where the statement will do that, will it, John?
Statement will do it. Yeah, absolutely. And you also, as you upload an image, you have the chance to comment on it and say what it is. You don't need to do that excessively. I'd say, depending on the amount of work you're uploading, but you can either in the applicant declaration or along with the image.
Sinead asks, if a student submits a portfolio, can they add another arts course at change of mind stage? I think the answer is yes.
Yes, that's right. So I suppose we ask for kind of reference our side, but ultimately it's what you put down in the CAO. That's really what counts. So in order, you do have to have it on the CAO. That's the most important thing. And you have to have submitted a portfolio. So if you selected visual communication only, we'll say, but you later on decide you want to study fine art, you can make the change in the CAO but you would have to have submitted the portfolio to us. Doesn't matter if you take fine art, that's totally fine if you haven't. So.
Okay, Sophia Maria says, I'm applying to interior design because of my general interest in the subject, but I have not had an experience in the subject yet. Would it still be suitable for me? You don't have to have a particular background in interior design or any of the programs in particular. An interest is really strong. Obviously, the ability to design in terms of producing a portfolio is a requirement. But if you can do the portfolio, we'll teach you all the interior design related aspects and components. That's essentially what we're here for. Jacobs asks, can you create one PDF file with multiple works? That's the same one before. The answer is yes. Aoife says, is the applicant statement just a text box at the start of the submission? I thought it was included within the portfolio. There you go, John.
Yeah, it's just a text box at the start of this form, basically. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be physically in the portfolio. We don't expect to see it later in with the work.
Okay, Irina asks, if you were an adult mature student and have finished a portfolio art preparation in Cloister Ida College, how do they calculate the marks? I don't know is my short answer.
So if you have the QQI, and again, admissions will be able to answer this directly, but if you have met the QQI requirements for the program, it really only comes down to the portfolio score at that point then. So it's all based on your portfolio score. But again, admissions and on the actual website, I think there is a little bit more information on that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And John, Lauren will actually reply to that one in the chat as well.
Okay, great stuff.
Sure. Thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, John. Okay, Blue says, I have my portfolio score already. Just to be 100% sure I don't need to submit anything or do anything else. But can I still add or change things? Now I just attend and be there for the course program. I'm not sure how maybe they applied last year for a portfolio. Or, I don't know. Elaine, do you know if someone would already have their portfolio score?
And I'm just reading that one again. Already.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's from another college or something. It wouldn't apply with us.
Can I just check? Can you just put it in the chat again? Did you submit a portfolio last year, but you just weren't successful in achieving a place? You can actually use the portfolio score that you received last year. However, if you want to submit another portfolio to see can you improve on that score, you can. But if you'd like to email me, the email address is school.artanddesign@tudublin.ie, and we'll be able to look up the results that you received last year.
Cool, thanks, Elaine. Hope that answers it. Aoife asks or mentions, you mentioned that all work has to be our own. Does a small inclusion of AI art formed from your own work within a college collage that is your own okay to submit? And that's a really good question. John, I'm going to leave that one for you. It's a great question.
Yeah, so, well, again, I mean, this is a question that's an evolving situation, as we all know, about AI and art. So I suppose really I'd probably discourage generally probably using AI in your artwork for the moment. If you have used it, I'd like you to tell us, and we will probably be able to see anyway, but it would be best if you tell us what was the motivation or what was the impact or why you were using it, because there could be really interesting ways, the applications of AI that might show, great thinking about it. So what it would be best if you explain that rather than you were simply using it to improve or enhance an image or something like that. Cool.
Alice says, can I explain my work? I think yes in the applicant statement, and I think as John said in the individual submissions. Do the interior design course like to see work done in software using interior design like SketchUp and CAD? I know that Neville, who isn't here, he does like to see it in the portfolios. It helps to identify someone who's studying, is interested in interior design. So if you have some, I'd say include it. Josh says, can I use my art leaving cert booklet as a piece for my portfolio? I think, Nivan, you might have addressed that earlier, did you?
Yes, I think so. I mean, just think about how it works in the portfolio submission. If it works and helps your case for art and design college, go for it. If not, find other work that you can kind of put in to build a sense of an applicant coming to art school. So cool. Yeah, possibly.
I think I think it's the same answer to Lucy's question, which is, can I submit my final piece leaving cert project as part of the portfolio application? I think that's the same answer. Mm-hmm. Victoria says, do you think supplying a music video via a YouTube link is suitable for a visual communication portfolio? I would say yes. Someone who was taught YouTube making on in the visual communication course, I would say yes, but just be sure to reference that it is your own work, etc. The usual sort of thing, and some inspiration behind it. But other than that, I wouldn't discourage it. Yeva says, hello. I want to ask about my situation regarding portfolio. I was in the Leaving Cert last year. Now I'm studying level 5 in college. Will there be any problems with this? Oh, will there be problems with this if I don't make enough points? And I don't know the answer. I think Lauren might have answered that.
I think she has answered that, Barry. Yeah.
Cool. So I can't. If I scan down to see Lauren's answers, I lose my track. Aoife says, when explaining a project, you include it in the PDF that you submit or in a text box next to where you submitted, where it says further information. John, that's one for you, I think.
Yeah, same again. It's either or, so it's totally fine, and you don't need to over-explain the projects. So if you've already put it in a PDF and it's there within your sketchbook or notebook or within the image, you can just do that. If you want to add something to the text, you can add that too.
Okay. Hannah asks, what type of work would you include in your portfolio for the visual merchandising and display? And I think Michelle is here. If Michelle is here, Michelle, if you'd like to answer.
Yeah, hi Hannah. I think the guys touched on it already. So drawing, practical and conceptual. So it's the same criteria. A lot of students, when they're applying for VM, they think they have to just do display and it has to be all fashion. It doesn't. It's still the same criteria, but obviously include fashion if you have some, but make sure that you touch on drawing, practical and conceptual and notebooks and the whole ideation and processes of your work. Hope that answers your question.
Cool. Thanks, Michelle. Yeva asks, and this may have been answered, can I transfer to another course if I understand I want to teach another one? I think Lauren has answered that down below. Can an unfinished piece or process be considered as part of the 25 pieces? This is from Marielle. I would say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I suppose just to be clear, there's 25, you can upload 25 files, if you know what I mean, to the slide room system. That's the limit, 25 files. If you upload a single image as a file, that's one of the 25. If you upload a PDF, it can include multiple pages, and that still counts as one of the 25 if it's a PDF with multiple pages. And we, as I said earlier, we want to see unfinished work. We want to see you thinking, so we don't just want to see finished pieces.
Okay, Blue came back. Thanks, Blue, for that. I deferred the course by 1 year, and we do it now next year. So he's deferred. Or Blue is deferred. Cool. Nadia asks, how many finished art pieces I need to submit in the portfolio, and what's the minimum? Okay, Michael and Nivan, that's down to you.
I mean, again, it's really about trying to get the whole portfolio together to represent what you do best. So as long as it covers the practical skills, the drawing and your ideas and how you go about making art. So it's hard to be definitive on that. We want to know about you and what makes you an artist or a designer, potentially. So that might be that piece around selecting and editing what needs to go forward. So Mick, if you have any other thoughts on that in relation to art?
I suppose like the 25 number is aspirational, but in a way it's better that you put in your best pieces. I think this comes back maybe as well, touches on the use of the notebook. The notebook is often considered one piece, but it's a really valuable piece. If you have two notebooks, they're going to do a lot more work than perhaps 5 separate pieces. So I think if you build a good coherent body of work and it's very evident both in your notebooks and in the work that you present, your case will be very strong. So I wouldn't fixate too much on the number of 25. We're more interested in seeing, I suppose, a quality submission and I suppose, as I said, the use of a notebook within that context.
Cool. Ella says, if I am in my first year of college studying design for film, would I have to go straight into first year if I were to do fine art in TU Dublin, or would I get into second year? And I think that has been answered because I think a tick means it's been answered. Elaine, am I right in that? If I see a tick, does that mean Lauren has answered that?
It is. That means Lauren has replied to it, yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. Katerina says, how would you like to see the thought process behind a piece of art to be portrayed, i.e. with sketches, collages added into the same file, or rather in words? Michael, do you want to take that, or Nivan?
Yeah, I think maybe the notebook is a good place for that. You know, we would see that demonstrated within the notebook, you know, where you're generating ideas, you're responding to things that you're interested in, and they kind of form the the background to maybe a piece that's finished that emerges out from that. So that's where within, say, the college experience, this is what we kind of teach students to do, is to kind of use the notebook as a research vehicle, and that they kind of put in their ideas and work them through in their notebook.
Cool. Okay, Sophia asks, could I digitally create a collage of a few separate works, presenting them as a collection? I think the short answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Jasmine says, can you make a PowerPoint presentation of all your work for the portfolio, including sketchbooks and final pieces? If so, how long should it be? I think, John, that's largely.
Yeah, I mean, you can for sure. And I suppose if you make it a PowerPoint, I would maybe encourage you to convert it to a PDF, but I think you can upload PowerPoints onto Slideroom. So you can do, there's no rule about how long it can be, how long it needs to be. I suppose if it tells a story of a process or the work process that you've been through, I mean, 10 pages, probably not 100, but it could be 2. It's really hard to say, but probably not 100,
Just to come in on that, if you don't mind, just to keep an eye on our portfolio about the size of the PowerPoint. They can sometimes be kind of heavy images. So just to check that it's within the size range for the file to upload. And if you have any problems with the PowerPoint, I know you might like it playing, but you could just convert it to a PDF so quickly, as you probably know, but you'll get the same visual effect, but perhaps not the sound and movement. But just if there's any issue with uploading it, PowerPoints can be kind of heavy, that's all.
Okay. Eliana asks, is it okay that some colors may be distorted in pictures of work from having to use phone camera compared to how they look in person? I would say yes. I mean, it's quite normal. People apply filters. They sometimes, yeah, that's quite fine with me. I have, I'm just going down to the ones that weren't answered, or most of these have comments against them. So Emily says, can I include artist research within my portfolio, e.g. sketches I've completed of famous paintings, etc., to show the techniques or styles that have inspired my own work, or would that be considered unoriginal work? Off you go, Nivan and Mick.
Well, I mean, it's always good to see where your ideas are coming from and what you're aware of, as part of the picture of how you are interested in art and what influences you. But we do also want to see your own original work. And as Mick's saying, this can be maybe contextualized as research as part of a notebook. I think it's always interesting to see what interests you, but we also want to see what you can do. So again, to talk about those areas that we're looking at and how this might have impacted or influenced some particular aspect of a project.
Okay.
Mick, I think that probably, is there anything else there covered?
Maybe just one minor thing, and it's very much the same, Nivan, but just to say, if you are thinking of applying, and I mean, it's great to see some people who go to exhibitions and record that experience. That's also really useful. It just shows you're interested in the subject area you're looking at. It's the same for any discipline. So, that's the notebook, again, as Nivan said, is a really good place to kind of capture some of that and record some of those experiences.
100%. Are 3D visualizations done in 3D Studio Max program good for visual communication portfolio? They'd be more typical for interior design, but absolutely 3D Studio Max, great program, pop them into your portfolio. Isabel asks, would mood boards and collages be appropriate for interior design? Absolutely, 100%. They'd be really good. Anyone who's interested in doing interior design, any sort of mood boards or collages are always really good. I think that gets to the bottom of the questions so far. Lauren has popped into the chat that you can contact admissions@tudublin.ie after this webinar. And thanks, Lauren, for all the help in answering all the questions I couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
Oh, that's it. So thanks everyone, really. And we're just 1 minute late, so I think we're just about okay. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to the staff for joining us late. Thanks to Lauren, as Barry said. And thank all of you for joining us. And we really are looking forward to seeing your work. And then we're really looking forward to seeing you next September in the East Quad when you join our program. And in the meantime, come and see us. Come to our open day. Come to our graduate exhibition. And if you would like to come and just have a look around, you can always email us and ask, and we will see. We'll see if we can facilitate it. And that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye. Bye.